Today is Monday, September 4th, 2023, and this is the Dunkley Report. Bill Richardson, a two-term Democratic governor of New Mexico and a U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, who dedicated his post-political career to working to free Americans detained overseas, has died. He was 75. The Richardson Center for Global Engagement, which he founded and led, said in a statement Saturday that he died in his sleep at his home in Chatham, Massachusetts. Before his election in 2002 as governor, Richardson was UN ambassador and energy secretary under President Bill Clinton and served 14 years as a congressman representing northern New Mexico. Richardson also traveled the globe as an unofficial diplomatic troubleshooter, negotiating the release of hostages and American servicemen from North Korea, Iraq, Cuba, and Sudan. An unusual late summer storm turned a week-long counterculture fest into a sloppy mess, with tens of thousands of partygoers stuck in foot-deep mud and with no working toilets in the northern Nevada desert. The gathering in the Black Rock Desert, about 110 miles north of Reno, attracts nearly 80,000 artists, musicians, and activists, and for a mix of wilderness camping and avant-garde performances. More, a half-inch of rain fell at the festival site on Friday, the National Weather Service in Reno said, with more coming Saturday and Sunday. Organizers closed the festival to vehicles after one death was reported. Officials provided no details of the fatality. Wisconsin's Republican-controlled legislature is talking about impeaching a newly elected liberal state Supreme Court justice even before she has heard a case. The unprecedented attempt to impeach and remove Justice Janet Protasewicz from office comes as the court is being asked to throw out legislative electoral maps drawn by the Republican-controlled legislature in 2011 that cemented the party's majorities in the Assembly and Senate. The court is under no deadline to decide whether to hear the redistricting challenges. Likewise, Protasewicz doesn't have a deadline for deciding whether she will recuse herself. Both decisions could come at any point. A statement on Jimmy Buffett's website has disclosed the cause of the singer-songwriter's death: a rare, aggressive skin cancer. The statement says the 76-year-old had Merkel cell cancer and died at his home in Sag Harbor, New York. The statement was posted after initial news of the Margaritaville singer's death emerged Saturday. He had been fighting the cancer for 4 years while continuing to perform. The Federal National Cancer Institute and the Mayo Clinic say that Merkel cell carcinoma is very rare and tends to spread quickly. Risk factors include a lot of sun exposure, a weakened immune system, a history of other cancers, and being light-skinned and over 50. Young students who were hit hardest by the pandemic are entering the upper grades of elementary school. Many will need extra reading support that schools aren't used to providing for older children. The students who were just starting school when the world shut down in 2020 showed some of the most alarming delays in their ability to read. To help them catch up, schools deployed a wide range of strategies, and among some incoming fourth graders, there are encouraging signs of gains. But now that they're big kids, will they get the same help? Experts say few upper-grade teachers know how to build foundational reading skills. 2 people have been charged with looting a home damaged by Hurricane Idalia in Florida's Big Bend region. The arrests come as residents' concerns are growing that burglars could be tempted to hit other hurricane-ravaged homes, since law enforcement is stretched thin in the remote wooded area along the Gulf Coast. Horseshoe Beach, Florida, is one of the communities that was worst hit after Idalia made landfall Wednesday as a Category 3 hurricane. Some residents there are urging law enforcement to set up checkpoints where people would have to show identification in order to get into the town. A group of friends and neighbors meets for a weekly meal, choosing from a special menu of nutritious foods paid for by social programs meant to keep older adults eating healthy. If you're imagining people gathering for lunch in a senior center, think again. In some states, programs that give struggling restaurants some of the federal and state money set aside to feed seniors have grown in popularity. The restaurants can provide balanced meals with more choices, flexible timing, and a judgment-free setting that can help seniors get together to chat and stem loneliness. The impeachment trial of Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is going to test the will of Republican senators to punish not only one of their own, but a hard-right firebrand who has driven the state's policymaking for years. Paxton is set to stand trial in the Texas Senate starting Tuesday on charges of bribery and abuse of office. Paxton is just the third official in the state's nearly 200-year history to be impeached. Witnesses called to testify could include Paxton and a woman with whom he acknowledged having an extramarital affair. Authorities say a recently convicted murderer who escaped from a suburban Pennsylvania prison this week was spotted on residential surveillance cameras in an area not far from the prison. According to the Chester County District Attorney's Office, 34-year-old Danilo Cavalcante was sighted around 12:30 a.m. Saturday in Poughkeepsie Township. The area is about 1.5 miles from the prison where he escaped from Thursday morning. Authorities say his appearance has remained unchanged since he fled. Prosecutors say Cavalcante is an extremely dangerous person and is also wanted in his native Brazil in a separate slaying. The search involves drones, helicopters, and dogs. A judge says that a Florida redistricting plan pushed by Republican Governor Ron DeSantis violates the state constitution. The state judge said Saturday the plan is prohibited from being used for any future U.S. congressional elections since it diminishes the ability of black voters in North Florida to pick a representative of their choice. The judge sent the plan back to the Florida legislature with instructions that lawmakers should draw a new congressional map that complies with the Florida Constitution. The decision in state court was the latest to strike down new congressional maps in southern states over concerns that they diluted black voting power. Today's news was reported by the Associated Press. This has been the World News for Monday, September 4th, 2023. Thanks again for joining us at the Dunkley Report.